In 2010, the government set out its vision for more freedom and flexibility in further education. New Challenges, New Chances, or NCNC, has major implications for the role of governors in the FE sector. This film examines 4 colleges that are responding with new models of governance.
What is different about this is the fact that we're able to bring different organisations together under the umbrella of one parent company, all working to the same vision.
City College, Norwich, has been the driving force behind a federation of Norfolk educational institutions. Transforming Education in Norfolk, or TEN, is a parent company that cements partnerships between the college and other educational institutions in a more formal way. The federation was established in September 2012 and has its own board of trustees.
It is a holding charity, and I think that's the easiest way to explain it. It is a holding company in that it holds or controls academies, UTC, and the college. And its prime function is to organise the strategic development of the group.
There was 2 real main thrusts behind the federation. One was to increase educational success rates, enhance opportunities for young people to have better progression opportunities, get into work, etc., etc. But secondly, we wanted to do it in a much more effective and efficient way financially.
The turning point came when colleges were given freedom. We could change the constitution of the college, and thus we could form a group. The college, for the first time, could be owned by an outside entity, i.e. Transforming Education in Norfolk. So Transforming Education in Norfolk controls the college. It has the right to appoint the majority of governors.
For the governors of City College Norwich, we felt that we've taken a small leap of faith really, because clearly we've lost some ability to control the makeup of our own board. But the way we view TEN is more of a family, so we're not threatened by them. We're working in partnership with them. The principals and heads of those organisations come together and work as a team.
City Academy Norwich has also gone through a process of discussing with its board and with its members whether it should join the federation, and if so, whether it should adopt new articles to allow its governors, like City College, to also be appointed by TEN. City Academy agreed that in the summertime. Norfolk Academies, which is the body within which Wayland Academy is governed, has also agreed to make this change.
I think it reads rather well now. Yeah. You can get it online as well via the website, so if people, if you need access to that or you want to point people to it, please do so. Action 3, Madam Chairman, you and I are going to work on them for the next meeting. We set the curriculum overview, the strategic overview and the annual targets for the individual institutions. And they would have done those themselves, hitherto. But what we can do is that we can set them across the group as well. We've already done some work with OCR and City and Guilds, and they've actually mapped one of Guardline's technical challenges they've given us against the EBAC subject. So it allows us to have a single model of governance across college and academies, because TEN sets the governance model.
But there is more than one board. So yes, there is the board of TEN that is overseeing the federation and ensuring that the strategy for the federation and the vision is aligned amongst each of us. But we are our own board as well. So the board that I chair is only interested in the students that come through City College.
All non-teaching activities and all the employees that go with it from all the entities have been put into a new company and provide services to all the educational establishments.
Norfolk Educational Services are the shared services company that provide us with our finance support, IT support, HR support and a number of other support services.
By pooling resources, the individual partners of the Federation can achieve not only value for money, economies of scale, but also ensure that the services were consistently at a high level across all the partner institutions.
We've already saved on the college's insurance bill £40,000, and we added Wayland on to that very recently, a few weeks ago, and saved another £15,000. So you're looking at over £50,000 of savings just on 2 insurances.
We've taken all of the back office functions out of the educational institutions. And I think what that's meant for governance is the fact that governors can really focus in on teaching and learning.
We're creating a federation of institutions that are delivering what our community is needing.
It's about making better educational outcomes for people in Norfolk.
I suppose the issue for me is, do you understand the people for whom we are providing service, and are you really confident that the college is delivering the service that those people need, which are fundamentally the students?
What matters to students lies at the heart of changes that are taking place in further education. The new Ofsted focus on teaching and learning demands a more extensive level of scrutiny by governors. Yeovil College is drawing on relevant expertise from within its board. It's also introduced targeted curriculum visits that encourage governors to experience teaching and learning for themselves.
Within corporation meetings, we have a wonderful comprehensive document that shows all of the college performance indicators, and teaching and learning will be included within those indicators. So the governors will look at that in a very formal way. And these curriculum visits are a different kind of evidence, a different kind of engagement for governors to look at the quality of the teaching and learning.
We've had a briefing sheet given to us beforehand, so we know what the department, the faculty is about, what they've done, their performance figures, this sort of thing. We can brief ourselves on that. How have you found it so far?
Yeah, it's really good.
Right, enjoying the course?
It's understanding what the college is about. It's really as simple as that. When you're a governor and you come from a business background, as many of us do, you can sit and you can make a lot of decisions about the college without really understanding what the issues are.
So what kind of projects would they undertake?
That's very useful in terms of how they then govern. It gives meaning and depth to the standard reports that they receive around the self-assessment report of the college, which is all about moves into the quality improvement plan.
Ultimately, it's about the whole experience for learners in the college.
But equally, I think that
and my link governor with an educational background works with me outside of curriculum visits, so he has lots of inputs into what I do.
I can look at the work that Cliff does as Vice Principal, dispassionately but positively. Dispassionately so that I can look at it and say, well, that bit works or that bit doesn't work, in my view. And in a friendly way, because I'm trying to make it better rather than just doing an Ofsted type thing and picking holes in it. So it's more a dialogue.
Cliff runs things past Peter often before the rest of the governors see it. I think that's vital. I think that is an example of good practice where the senior managers and governors work closely together.
My link governor's role is developmental for the college. His perspective contributes to the quality of self-assessment and critical review because he's been there himself. And that's always been our approach, is to attract and use governors with a wide range of expertise, both commercial, service industries, civil service, Education.
It's very important that governors understand the difference between governance and management. So they're always looking at the bigger picture, the strategic thing, the sort of helicopter view of things, and not getting involved in operational detail.
We are charged with making due inquiry as to how the college performs and satisfying ourselves that what we're told by senior managers is indeed the truth. And this is part of that process.
I think all colleges' governing bodies strive to get that balance between the big and the small, the strategic and the tactical, and the detail and the big picture, so that we're not doing management's job, but we understand aspects of the job they're trying to do, and also what it means for teachers and students in the college on a day-to-day basis.
There is a sense of, right, we're going to do things a different way now. We're having a new focus, which is very much around teaching and learning, very much about understanding what it is the expectations are of the community we serve, and how we weave that in as a united body.
At Carlisle College, a fundamental restructuring of the corporation board is taking place. This innovative model for governance relies on a new level of participation by all governors.
One of the interesting things about the New Freedoms was that it recognised finally that one size does not fit all, and that as a very small college we can have a different governance framework to a much larger regional college. So the board put together a governance review working group to consider all the options and put forward a series of recommendations on proposals for changes.
When we first got together as a working party, the first 10 minutes, we said, well, things are working pretty well, aren't they? You know, and people were pretty happy. And then someone talked about a different governance structure, for example, in the NHS.
We particularly focused on National Health Foundation trusts and thought that a smaller core group of governors with the remit to meet with key stakeholders as and when would form a better framework.
Up until now, we've had a board of 18 with 2 staff governors and 2 student governors. We're proposing to reduce that to 12, abolish the subcommittees, and as part of that reduction to 12, we'll have just 1 student governor and 1 staff governor.
It was very clear from our annual self-assessment that 18 was far too large a number to enable all governors to engage effectively in the key areas of the corporation's business. So the decision was taken that a smaller group would be able to form that key core of governors in order to undertake the business of the corporation effectively.
We've got the indicative allocations through from the SFA at the moment, and our funding is being cut based on sort of 11-12 activity.
If you have subcommittees, there is a tendency for governors to start specialising in that particular activity or those sets of issues, and we didn't want that. We wanted every governor at every board meeting to be as fully engaged as possible with all of the issues.
What will happen is that instead of teaching and learning, for example, being a committee, everyone there will discuss teaching and learning. So that's a huge change.
Moving from a larger board to a smaller board will enable us all as governors to focus more on working with stakeholders, working with students.
Also, if you're going down to 1 student governor and 1 staff governor, we need to look at other ways of talking to and consulting with staff and students. As a board, you can't do everything, but I think the idea behind focus groups is that it enables you to come up with the right feedback to enable the board and the senior management team to make the appropriate decisions and take the policy forward.
Do you have a sense that, you know, if you're paying for this, even if it's via loan, that you would expect something more?
Well, The facility, you have the ability to come and see the facilities before you join the course anyways, so if you haven't, that was your choice.
The good thing about the information from focus group is that the governors are there, they're hearing it themselves. We're able to ask the students questions, and so it's real and it feels like real information.
Okay, and if you just do it as this one full package, but you can pay back into it straight away if you've got the money to pay back into it straight away. If not, then you don't, So.
Having spoken with key stakeholders, those governors would be able to take that viewpoint back to a full meeting of the corporation.
We were quite astonished at the response of the learners, and the main thrust of what they were saying was that because we're mature students, we are pretty well motivated, we know why we're here and what we're doing, we're happy to take on a loan of £1,000, crack on with it.
Rather than information just going to one committee or another committee, all information will go to the board as a whole, which should guide their strategy, debate and thinking on what they should do to drive the college forward.
In essence, a smaller board that enables a very deep dialogue with a broad stretch of understanding across all aspects of what the college does and direct engagement with stakeholders is a winning mix. The idea is that decision-making, big issues can be looked at in a much more holistic way.
At New College Nottingham, governors are forging a dynamic relationship with the local community. This horizontal accountability is a key aspect of the new freedoms and flexibilities and a new direction for governance at NCN.
The governors at NCN are very focused on being accountable. They are very aware that they need to be demonstrating that the college is meeting the needs of its community and actually delivering the skills and the workforce of the future. That's one of their key missions.
Our move towards a more strategic engagement came in the first instance from the governors. We somewhat had lost our way. We were following rather than leading the agenda in Nottingham.
We've reviewed governance over the period of the last 15 months. We've identified that we need to change it fundamentally in the context of actually the risk appetite, the notion of actually the skill sets and the engagements that we have to have through the capacity of our governing body.
Today is really a celebration of our engagement with the Creative Quarter, which is part of the City Deal package which Nottingham City Council have negotiated with government. And this is about showcasing our true commitment to engagement with business, with our local communities.
We started from a place where we were too internally focused. We've had many events over the last year inviting local business people, people from the community, and we've crafted our strategic intent following what we called our big conversation. We had many respondents from the stakeholders. They told us what they liked about the college and what they hoped we could do.
It fits completely with the ethos that we're trying to develop within Nottingham, which is a one Nottingham, effectively, the public, the private, the voluntary sector working together for the benefit of our citizens.
I think it's testing our current model of governance. Our governors are very committed, but we're demanding more of them. So I think it's testing their sense of engagement with their stakeholder groups, with their own networks.
One thing we were acutely aware of was the involvement of students and their interaction with our governors and our board.
I don't think in the past we've taken them as seriously as we should. They know what works for them. They can help us co-create the way in which we do things around here.
There needs to be the drive from the students and there needs to be the engagement with the community, and if we get it right, then the students will be more responsive to the needs of the employers, and equally the employers' needs will be met by the students that come out of the doors.
This course, in a nutshell, is designed as a professional design studio
So students will work with clients, get the skills they need to go out and work in industry. And by engaging communities, it allows us to build up links, which ultimately could generate more opportunities for students to progress into those jobs, instead of just leaving here with an education that they can't use.
I think what Nottingham gets out of it is more engagement with young people, so young people feel like there's more opportunities. Businesses feel like there are more talented young people in the city. So you create a critical mass of an ecosystem that's sustainable and that can grow.
Stakeholders are the reason that we're here. That's a very clear directive from the governors. The college has to be delivering the needs of the stakeholders that the college engages with. And if we aren't doing that, then we aren't being a successful college.
I think we're one of a number of colleges across the country that's looking at a more enterprising behaviour. Policies made nationally, jobs are created locally, so we have to be in tune with that local environment.
It's about making further education about the people and the places we serve, listening to what people need and what people would like further education to be about, rather than us presuming that we know what's best for those people.
New freedoms and flexibilities are changing the landscape of governance in the FE sector. In all 4 colleges, the role of the clerk is central to the transformations that are taking place.
I work for the governing body rather than for the senior leaders of the college. I'm separate from the management structure. I have to be independent, and my focus is always on whatever is in the best interest of the corporation.
Governance is a dynamic and evolving concept in further education. So I see the role of clerk as supporting and driving and advising governance in college as also being dynamic and changing.
Well, I think for clerks in general, we had a very secure structure. It was a very simple structure that we worked within before. That structure has completely been deconstructed, and we're now working under general company law and general charitable law.
My own personal view on this is that the more that clerks are aware of company law, of the models within private companies, the more they can start to be aware of some of the opportunities that may open up in terms of governance.
Now we not only have to be able to interpret governance, but we also have to generate governance ideas and concepts.
I think the role has changed significantly now to be about how to enable good governance. And a clerk's role is absolutely crucial in making sure that the governance and the management works in such a way that there is that harmony, that there is that single direction.
Clerks are now expected to think in a more dynamic way and to not to force or even to lead their governing bodies into changing things about their governance structures that they don't want to, but to be aware, to be researching that those options are out there.
The clerk is important because the board is important, and if the clerk is doing their job effectively, then the board should be working effectively. So I think there is a direct correlation there between the effectiveness of the clerk and the board, and therefore the college.
At the 4 colleges we have examined in this film, new and different kinds of governance models are emerging.
I think the new challenges, the new freedoms, have generated a context within which colleges can start to imagine alternative ways of developing, alternative forms of governance.
As a result of such a major shift in policy within further education, corporation boards around the country are rethinking the way they govern.
The new freedoms in general and how they fit together with the governance code, it's a good opportunity for governors to look at themselves and improve self-assessment and quality improvement processes.
I think we can much more readily respond to agendas as they change, rather than waiting for a government directive about how we must change in response to that.
It's about recognising the importance of being able to have an oversight on behalf of the community at large for an institution, and taking that commitment seriously.